What are the challenges that await them? Will they be able to find the lantern? Let's find out. The Lost Lantern, Part 2. From the shadows emerged a large, hissing snake, its scales glistening in the dim light. The snake's eyes glowed with a menacing light as it slithered toward them. Grizzle stepped in front of Lily, his fur bristling. "Stay back," he warned. "I'll handle this." With a swift move, Grizzle darted at the snake, his claws extended. The snake hissed and reared up, ready to strike. Grizzle and the snake engaged in a tense battle. Lily watched, holding her breath, as Grizzle's agility and quick reflexes helped him dodge the snake's attacks. With a final powerful swipe, Grizzle managed to push the snake back into the shadows, where it slithered away, defeated. "That was close," Lily said, her voice trembling a little. "Thank you, Grizzle." Grizzle nodded, though his expression remained stern. "We need to stay alert. There might be more dangers ahead." They continued through the cave, and soon they found themselves at a narrow, twisting passage. The walls were lined with glittering crystals that sparkled in the dim light. The passage seemed to stretch on endlessly, and Lily felt a bit disoriented. "I think we're almost through," Grizzle said, examining the map. "Just a little further." After what felt like an eternity, they emerged from the cave into a dense forest. The trees here were different, taller and more twisted, their branches reaching out like gnarled hands. The air was filled with the sound of rustling leaves and distant bird calls. They followed a narrow trail that wound through the trees. As they walked, they encountered a mischievous group of fairies. The fairies were small and sparkled with magical dust. They flitted around Lily and Grizzle, giggling and playing tricks. "Lost in the forest, are we?" one of the fairies teased, darting in front of them. "Maybe we can help, or maybe we'll just have some fun." Lily tried to keep her focus. "We're looking for the magical lantern. If you know anything about it, please help us." The fairies exchanged glances and whispered among themselves. Finally, one of them spoke up. All right, we'll help you, but you must catch us first." Before Lily could react, the fairies zoomed off, laughing as they went. Lily and Grizzle had no choice but to chase after them. The fairies flew through the trees, darting in and out of the branches. Lily and Grizzle ran and jumped, trying to keep up. The chase led them to a hidden grove filled with shimmering flowers and glowing mushrooms. In the center of the grove was a large, ancient tree with a hollow trunk. The fairies finally settled on the tree, their laughter fading into soft giggles. "We'll tell you what we know," one of the fairies said, catching her breath. "The lantern's light is hidden by the forest. It's not lost, but protected by the forest itself. You must prove your worthiness to see it." Lily and Grizzle listened carefully. "How do we prove our worth?" Lily asked. "The forest will test you," the fairy explained. "You must show that you understand the lantern's true meaning and that you are worthy of its light." With that, the fairies vanished, leaving Lily and Grizzle alone in the sunken grove. They knew their journey was far from over and that the forest would continue to challenge them. As they left the grove, the forest grew darker and more foreboding. Lily and Grizzle pressed on, their determination unwavering. The forest magic seemed to pulse around them, guiding their steps and reminding them of the importance of their quest. Their next challenge awaited them, and Lily knew that they had to stay strong and united. With Grizzle's help and the guidance they had received, she was confident they would overcome whatever the forest threw their way and find the missing lantern. Lily and Grizzle continued their journey through the now dark and quiet forest. The path ahead was unclear, but they felt a renewed sense of purpose. The advice from the fairies was fresh in their minds. If they wanted to find the lantern, they needed to prove their worth. The forest seemed to watch them as they walked, its shadows shifting and whispering secrets. Despite the eerie atmosphere, Lily and Grizzle pushed forward, guided by the map and their determination. After hours of trekking through the darkened forest, they arrived at a hidden glen. The glen was surrounded by tall, ancient trees with branches that seemed to touch the sky. In the center of the glen was a small, serene pond. The water was perfectly still, reflecting the few remaining stars in the sky. Above the pond, a soft, shimmering light danced in the air. Lily's eyes widened as she saw the source of the light. Floating above the pond was the magical lantern. Its glow was gentle and warm, casting a soft illumination around the glen. The lantern's light seemed to pulse with a steady rhythm, as if it was breathing. "There it is!" Lily exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. "We found it!" Grizzle nodded, his eyes fixed on the lantern. "It looks like the forest test was about more than just finding the lantern. It's about understanding its significance." Lily approached the pond carefully. She noticed that the lantern was not simply resting on the water, but floating just above it, held aloft by an invisible force. The light from the lantern created a beautiful reflection in the water, and Lily could see her own face mirrored in the ripples. As she reached out to take the lantern, the water in the pond began to ripple gently. The soft light of the lantern seemed to grow brighter, and Lily felt a warm, comforting energy surrounding her. It was as if the lantern was welcoming her. Lily gently grasped the lantern and felt its warmth seep into her paws. The light was soothing and full of hope. She looked back at Grizzle, who was watching with a mixture of relief and pride. "We did it," Lily said softly, her eyes shining with tears of happiness. "The lantern is here." Grizzle smiled, his gruff exterior melting away for a moment. "Now, we need to get it back to the heart of the forest." The journey back was filled with a sense of urgency. Lily and Grizzle moved quickly, their steps echoing through the forest. The trees seemed to stir with renewed energy, and the air was filled with a gentle hum of magic. As they approached the heart of the enchanted forest, they noticed a change. The once dim forest was beginning to show signs of life. The trees had started to shimmer faintly, and the flowers were beginning to open their petals. The forest seemed to awaken from its slumber, responding to the presence of the lantern. When Lily and Grizzle reached the heart of the forest, they found Orin, the wise old owl, waiting for them. Orin's eyes gleamed with relief and joy as he saw the lantern. "You've returned," Orin said, his voice filled with gratitude. "And with the lantern." Lily carefully placed the lantern in its designated spot at the center of the forest. As soon as the lantern touched its resting place, a brilliant light exploded outward, filling the forest with a dazzling glow. The magic of the forest surged back to life. The trees sparkled with vibrant colors, the flowers bloomed in a riot of hues, and the mountain air was filled with the joyful sounds of creatures celebrating. Lily and Grizzle stood at the center of the forest, watching the transformation unfold. The forest's inhabitants had gathered around, celebrating the return of their beloved magic. The sprites danced in the air, and the animals chirped and played, their happiness palpable. Orin, the wise old owl and the forest guardian, fluttered down to join Lily and Grizzle. His feathers were glowing with a soft, warm light, and his eyes were filled with gratitude and pride. "You have done a remarkable thing," Orin said, his voice full of admiration. Thanks to your bravery and determination, the forest magic has been restored. You have shown that even in the darkest times, hope and care can bring light back into the world." Lily smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. It wasn't just about finding the lantern. It was about understanding how important it is to care for each other and for our home. The lantern's light symbolizes the love and kindness we must always have. Grizzle nodded in agreement. The forest test was about more than just finding the lantern. It was about reminding us of the importance of unity and understanding. We all have a role to play in keeping our home magical and vibrant. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the forest, the celebration continued. The creatures of the enchanted forest rejoiced, their spirits lifted by the restored magic. The lantern's light filled the forest with a warm, comforting glow, a reminder of the power of caring and the strength that comes from working together. Lily and Grizzle were honored by the forest's inhabitants. Their bravery and kindness celebrated. Their adventure had not only restored the forest magic, but it also brought them closer together as friends. As the festivities wound down, Lily and Grizzle took a moment to reflect on their journey. They had faced many challenges and discovered the true meaning of the lantern's light. They knew that the forest would continue to thrive as long as its inhabitants remembered the lessons they had learned. With a sense of fulfillment and hope, Lily and Grizzle said their goodbyes and prepared to return to their homes. They carried with them the knowledge that they had made a difference and that the enchanted forest would always be a place of magic and wonder. As they left the heart of the forest, Lily glanced back one last time. The lantern's light shimmered through the trees, a beacon of hope and unity. She knew that the forest magic would endure, and its story would be told for generations to come. Lily and Grizzle walked away from the enchanted forest, their hearts light and their spirits high. They had not only found the lantern, but had also discovered the true power of care, kindness, and the magic that lies within each of us. The story ends here. If you're interested in hearing about an ancient map that leads a boy to Serpent Island, where the path to treasure is filled with deadly obstacles, click the video here or follow the link in the description.